Hello everyone, it's yet another week and another episode of Football Planet, which is all about African football here on your Pan-African channel, Africanews. My name is Victor Muisio. Coming up in this week's show, things are heating up in Benin following a recent age cheating scandal that saw 11 of their players in the under-17 squad disqualified for being overage. That led to the disqualification of the entire team altogether, and now the case has been picked up by the country's public prosecutor. What happened? Stay tuned for more. Last weekend was match day 2 of the AFCON 2019 qualifiers around the continent. There was plenty of action, shocks and disappointment. We'll be taking a look back at some of the matches in the action for a quick review. And after seeing the return of Saido Berahino to Burundi and Geoffrey Kondogbia for the Central African Republic, a curious trend is emerging. And today we are asking, is Africa's football talent finally coming back home? We'll find out. Stay tuned for more. This is Football Planet. Things are heating up in Benin following a recent age cheating scandal that saw 11 of their players in the under-17 squad disqualified for being overage, which led to the disqualification of the entire team. And now the case has been picked up by the country's public prosecutor. What happened? The following report has more.
About 20 people will be prosecuted in connection to the age cheating scandal that led to the disqualification of the Benin Squirrels from the Waffles on Bay qualifiers last week. The country's public prosecutor in Niamey has taken over the case after the sports minister filed a complaint. Another MRI scan revealed that most of the players were way above the age of 17. After 4 days of investigation, some 18 people and not least are in custody since Friday night at the Cotonou civil prison. Of the 11 players that had failed the MRI tests, it was established that everyone was at least 20 years old and others 27, 11 years older than the age allowed for the competition. 8 members of the technical staff have also been arrested for complicity, including the former president of the Beninese Football Federation, Anjorin Musharraf. Musharraf is also under investigation for a case relating to theft of sports equipment. Their trial will be on the 23rd of October, where they risk between 6 months to 2 years of imprisonment.
Last weekend was match day 2 of the AFCON 2019 qualifiers around the continent. There was plenty of action, shocks and disappointment like we told you in the headlines. Here is a review on that.
Match day 2 of the AFCON 2019 qualifiers was action-packed with a total of 24 matches played and 49 goals scored around the continent. In Alexandria, Mohamed Salah scored twice and missed 2 penalties as the Pharaohs of Egypt thrashed Niger 6-0. Marouane Mouzen and Ayman Ashraf scored to give Egypt a 2-0 lead. Before Salah scored, then creating the 4th goal for rising star Salah Mohsen before netting the 5th himself. Arsenal's Mohamed El Neni completed the rout with a goal 2 minutes into stoppage time. At the Stadler Net in Victoria, Seychelles, the Super Eagles of Nigeria eased past the Pirates to a comfortable 3-0 win thanks to goals from Ahmed Musa, Chidozie Awaziem and Odion Igalo. Libya frustrated South Africa to a goalless draw at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban. The Gambia Scorpions have held the Desert Foxes of Algeria to a 1-1 draw in a thrilling encounter in Banjul. Algeria's Baghdad Bounenja broke the deadlock in the 47th minute before Hassan Sessei cancelled his effort 2 minutes later. At the complex Mohammed V in Casablanca, Morocco defeated Malawi 3-0 with a goal from Hakim Ziyech and a brace from Youssef El Nesri. At the Kigali Regional Stadium in Nyamirambo, Rwanda suffered a 2-1 loss to the Elephants of Ivory Coast. Forward Jonathan Koje scored the opening goal for the visitors before Max Alain Gradel doubled the scores 4 minutes after the restart. William Jabbar's 61-minute goal had seen Liberia battle to secure their first win of the qualifiers in Monrovia, but despite enjoying much of the possession, DR Congo's Meshach Elias snatched a point for the Leopards with 7 minutes left to the final whistle. A solitary goal for the Palancas Negras of Angola was enough to ensure the Zebras of Botswana have now lost all their Group 1 games following the defeat at the November 11th Stadium in Luanda. Meanwhile, continental champions Cameroon were held to a 1-1 draw by Comoros. Senegal were held to a 2-2 draw in Antananarivo Stade Mahamasina, while Ghana were pipped 1-0 by Kenya in Nairobi.
Stoke City forward Saido Berahino was given clearance by FIFA to complete a nationality switch from England to Burundi in August. On Saturday, he hit the ground running as he needed just 40 minutes to score his debut goal against Gabon. More in this report.
Stoke City forward Saido Berahino was given clearance by FIFA to complete a nationality switch from England to Burundi in August. He needed just 40 minutes to break his international duck in Saturday's AFCON 2019 qualifier in Libreville when he scored his debut goal against Gabon. The match ended 1-1 after Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang equalized for the hosts. 25-year-old Berahino moved to England from Burundi when he was 10 and has played for England at various age groups up to under-21 level. He was also named in a full England squad by Roy Hodgson for a Euro 2016 qualifier against Slovenia, but didn't get off the bench. Burundi, who are currently ranked 148th in the world, have never qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations, but with two teams qualifying from each group for next summer's showpiece, they may now fancy their chances of reaching the continental high table. Burundi continued their campaign against Mali on October 10.
And still on players switching nationalities, Valencia midfielder Geoffrey Kondogbia has been cleared by FIFA to swap national allegiances to play for the Central African Republic. He has been included by coach Raul Savoy in the 23-man squad for an AFCON qualifier against Guinea, but an injury will delay his debut for the Wild Beast up to until October.
Central African Republic Football Association announced that Valencia midfielder Geoffrey Kondogbia has been given green light by FIFA to swap national allegiance from France to the Central African Republic. The 25-year-old represented France from under-16 level right the way through to full international level. After winning the Under-20 World Cup with France, he made his senior debut as a 20-year-old and went on to be capped 5 times. All his appearances for France were in friendlies, and as the midfielder holds a dual nationality passport, meaning he is now eligible to play for the Central African Republic. Kondogbia had been included by coach Raul Savoy in the 23-man squad for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Guinea in Conakry on Sunday. However, according to a statement by the Central African Republic FA, Kondogbia will not be available for the Guinea encounter due to a knee injury. Now, he is expected to make his debut for the Wild Beast in October for the 3rd and 4th qualifying days of the Africa Cup of Nations.
In the wake of Geoffrey Kondogbia and Saido Berahino's return to play for their home teams from Europe, more and more European-born and generally players of African descent are returning home. We also have players like Gabon's Aubameyang, Ghana's Kevin Prince Boateng, and Ivory Coast's Wilfried Zaha. This is becoming a curious new trend. Now that leads us to our big question this week. Is Africa's muscle drain finally over? On the line, we have Nuhu Adams, a veteran sports analyst from Ghana. Thanks, Nuhu, for staying on the line. Now, looking at the trend, does all this mean that African talent is finally coming back home?
Well, it is very, very refreshing to see Geoffrey Kondogbia and Saido Berahino coming back to help their respective nations. You know, they were born outside Africa, but they've realized they hail from Central African Republic and Burundi respectively, and they've come back. This, if you relate it to say that African talent are coming back, I beg to differ. You know, it's very, very difficult to get these players to come back to play for Africa when they know they are going to get invitations to the national teams of the countries they were born. I can give you many, many examples like Samuel Umtiti, Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante, and those players playing for France. If they realized they were not going to be called by France anytime soon. Most of them could have come back to play for the African countries. If you go to Algeria, the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Yacine Brahimi, Rafik Halichi were all players who were born in France, but because they realized they are not going to get into the France national team, they all decided to come back to the Algerian national team. It's not that they are willing to come back, but it's when they realize they are not going to get into the national teams of the countries they were born in. That's why most of them are getting back. Kevin Prince Boateng is one example. If he was aware that he was going to be called up by the German national team for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, he couldn't have come to play for Ghana. So, yes, it's good they are coming back, but I can't necessarily say they want to play for Africa. No, that's not the reality. The reality is that when they are ignored by those European countries, then they turn to Africa because most of the African countries are always chasing for these players, and that is it.
Thank you, Nuhu, for sharing with us. That was Nuhu Adam speaking to us from Accra in Ghana. COSAFA and ZIFA boss Philippe Chiangwa has been unanimously endorsed to replace Kalusha Bwalia's post as the regional body's representative on the Confederation of African Football's Executive Committee. Take a look.
COSAFA and ZIFA boss Philippe Chiangwa has been unanimously endorsed to replace Kalusha Bwalia's post as the regional body's representative on the Confederation of African Football Executive Committee. Meanwhile, South African Football Association President Dr. Danny Jordan was endorsed as the region's candidate to contest the vacant seat on the FIFA General Council. A position on the FIFA governing body became devoid after the resignation of Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi and is to be contested only by candidates from English-speaking countries on the continent. Nyantakyi, a former CAF vice president, is serving an extended FIFA embargo after he appeared receiving kickbacks in a video expose by controversial Ghanaian journalist Anas Arimeyao Anas.
That does it for today on Football Planet. I'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Remember, this show is always available on our website, africanews.com/sport. My name is Victor Mwisio. Goodbye.